It's not appropriate for a man and a woman to be alone in a room, but I couldn't refuse the Su family. I had to go back with Su Fanin. Although it had been unoccupied for a long time, I hire people to inspect and repair the house every year. Except for a bit of dust, it wasn't too bad. After cleaning up, I sat on the steps outside the house and started to daydream. The sky washed by the rain was clear and clean, with large clouds floating on the blue curtain. This kind of scenery is rarely seen in the heavily polluted capital city. Su Fanin handed me a bottle of water, and I smiled up at her. "Why did you suddenly come back?" She also curled her lips and said, "I was tricked back by my dad." "And you?" she asked in return. There was no doubt that Su Fanin was beautiful. The warm sunshine spread over her, as if she was covered with a layer of golden powder. Unlike Lily's bright and flamboyant appearance, she had a gentle and elegant look with a strong scholarly atmosphere. I looked away and thought for a moment, choosing the most appropriate word. "Healing wounds," I said. Life in the countryside was slow. I gradually adapted to the polite and courteous life alone with Su Fanin. She was an excellent roommate. Afraid that I would be bored, she brought many extracurricular books for me to pass the time. Moreover, she somehow got a puppy that looked exactly like the one my grandmother had before. I squatted down and stroked the puppy, feeling mixed emotions. Su Fanin stood silently beside me. After a long time, I heard her say, "Did Swayan suffer any injustice?" It was a familiar sentence that brought back many memories buried in the river of time. When I was little, I was often mocked by children of similar age in the village as a wild child without parents, or even worse, a bastard. At that time, I was young and had a soft personality. I would only hide and cry by myself. Every time I cried, Su Fanin could find me. She would gently touch my head and ask, "Did Swayan suffer?" Gradually, fewer and fewer people bullied me. It was only until I saw Su Fanin corner a little boy who had thrown a stone at me in a dead-end alley and beat him up that I understood the reason. Such a thin and weak little girl had turned herself into a brave warrior to protect me. How did we become estranged later when I had been so attached to Su Fanin before we left here? A few days later, Zhao Siyu sent me a short video. In the video, Lily was holding a bottle of liquor, sitting on the ground, calling out, "Swayan, Swayan." Beside her, Ji Chuyan frowned deeply, with a dark expression. There were 2 more messages below the short video. "And, when are you coming back? Wanru has had too much to drink and has been asking for you. She's making a scene at Yunhai now, and we can't do anything about it." Yunhai was the old place mentioned by Qin Shi before. It was the top club in the capital, one of the Qin family's businesses. Lily often drank too much when she went out to play. Every time she drank too much, she would only leave with me. Later, I asked her, "Aren't you afraid of recognizing the wrong person?" She shook her head and said coquettishly, "How could I possibly recognize the wrong person? You are the one and only Lin Swayan." It was these little things, one after another, that made me like her for 12 years. Only when there is hope can one persist for so long, right? I replied, "Don't tell me about her anymore." As soon as the message was sent, Zhao Siyu's phone call came through. I thought about it and decided to answer. "Hey, Swayan, actually, Wanru hasn't been doing well these past few days." Before he could finish, there was a burst of noisy shouting, "Wanru, behave yourself and don't grab my phone." The next moment, Lily's voice came out of the phone. "Hello. Is that Swayan? When are you coming to pick me up? I wasn't feeling well a couple of days ago, and you didn't even come to see me. I haven't seen you in a long time." As she spoke, her voice became smaller and seemed to choke up a little. "Swayan, I miss you." Without hesitation, I hung up the phone. That night, Ji Chuyan requested to add me as a friend, saying he had something he wanted to show me. I wasn't interested in what he wanted to show me, but he kept adding me persistently. When he added me for the 20th time, I agreed. He sent me a picture. On the big bed in the hotel, Lily closed her eyes, with her black hair spread out, like a seductive fairy. Lying next to her was Ji Chuyan. "Swayan, it's me and Wanru. I know you like her too, but Wanru only feels affection and habit for you. She told me herself that she only loves me. Tonight, she drank and called you because she was jealous of me talking to another girl. I hope you don't misunderstand." As I read her long message, I just felt bored. Our 12-year relationship had come to an end when she kicked me out of the group. It wasn't as difficult as I had imagined to let go of love. I replied calmly, "Oh, I wish you both happiness."